Hi, I'm Daniel. I am with NatureMade, and joining me today is Dr. Susan Mitmesser, who heads up scientific research for NatureMade, as well as Nourish, which is our new personalized vitamin and supplement subscription service. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Daniel. It's nice to see you.
So, last time we were talking about like the impact of inadequate sleep and what that looks like. And you gave some great examples around how it impacts children. In this one, we were really kind of focusing the conversation more back on adults. So how do I know if I'm getting enough sleep or not?
I revert back to self-reflection a lot in my own personal life, but professionally as well. And my professional advice always is to reflect on your irritability. If you have, I think that's a good indicator of not getting enough sleep. Are you irritable? Are you less tolerant of others? Are you able to function at work?
Yeah.
Are you not able to hold focus? If you are doing activities with hand-eye coordination, lack of sleep can really affect hand-eye coordination. And then also think about the other two pillars of health and wellness, which are nutrition and physical activity. And have those significantly changed? So are you not able or motivated to do exercise?
Right.
Are you eating a little bit differently because you're too tired to make a good dinner for you and your family?
Okay. So we kind of talked about this actually a couple of videos ago when we were talking about the immune system. But in that, you touched on the idea of sleep being such an important part of your immune system in terms of helping you get through an illness. So my question is, does inadequate sleep actually impact your risk of getting sick?
So I love that you brought up the previous sessions because I think that's a great foundation to start with. We talked about the guards, remember? And the guards are the barrier. So your skin is a great barrier to the innate immune system. And then the soldiers, which a great example of the soldiers are the white blood cells. And that's part of your adaptive immune system. And if you have insufficient sleep, your body makes fewer cells and proteins that can identify the invaders and then attack the invaders. And sleep is the time when your body is not only producing these cells and proteins, but it's also releasing them during sleep time. And so if you are skimping on shut-eye, you're really, it's a double whammy because you're not able to produce and or release the things that will help defend your body against invaders.
Given how top of mind immunity is for a lot of people right now, is there anything else in regards to immunity and sleep that you want to share with the audience?
I would say that, sleep won't necessarily prevent you from exposure to a virus or a bacteria, but what it will do is set you up to fight it and to fight it better.
Okay. Okay. So it's sort of like it's sort of yeah, it's laying a foundation or yeah, it's not sleep is not going to necessarily limit your exposure to the flu, but it could definitely help on the back end in terms of actually fighting it off. Is that correct? Okay.
Exactly. And remember that the immune system, it's going to help with the barrier, the innate immune system. So it'll make the guards stronger. And then if indeed an invader does get into the body, it makes the soldiers stronger to identify and fight that invader. So it just really sets you up for to fight off in bacteria, viruses better, but it doesn't prevent exposure at all.
Interesting. So basically sleep in terms of its impact on your overall health is pretty pervasive. I mean, it's
Yeah, it is. And there have been a lot of great research that backs that up. There's one study that showed that if you slept less than 6 hours of sleep at night, you were 4 times more likely to catch a cold compared to those that slept 7. So that's just an hour difference, and 4 times more likely to catch a cold is pretty significant. I'll take that extra hour of sleep. That's
yeah, seriously, if that's yes.
And then I'll just also add the economic impact of that. Sometimes we forget about the economics of our health, and the common cold costs the U.S. $40 billion in annual medical costs. Wow. And loss of productivity. So not only is it physically harmful, but financially, it's a burden on our country.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. I don't think people probably think about it that way either, in terms of illness and the financial impact on our economy. Although probably now maybe a little bit more so. But kind of speaking about health conditions and illness, and even disease, what does minimal sleep or inadequate sleep actually impact like larger health conditions beyond something like getting a cold or getting the flu?
The short answer is 100% yes. There's a link to a lack of sleep and certain chronic diseases, such as heart disease, certain types of cancer. In fact, to the point on cancer, the WHO considers sleep disturbances a probable carcinogen. So, there is a direct link there. Stroke, there's a link to stroke incidents, and also unintended injury. Now it's getting a little bit more known that driving while you're sleepy is equally as disruptive as driving while intoxicated. Yeah. And 21% of fatal accidents are caused by drowsy driving.
Wow. That's a big number.
It is. It really is.
So lastly, are there health conditions that people might not associate with inadequate sleep?
I would have to say one that people may not be aware of is obesity.
Oh, interesting.
If there's a recent study that showed that if you slept less than 5 hours of sleep, you were at risk for developing obesity 50% more. Wow. And if you think about that, that's pretty profound. So 5 hours of sleep, I know many people that only get 5 hours of sleep, and a 50% increase in developing obesity is profound. Yeah. And the reason I love that research so much is it also went another step and tried to determine the why. And the hunger hormones are actually increased with the lack of sleep, and the appetite controlling hormones are actually decreased. And so the hormones are working in complete opposition for promoting obesity. It's almost setting your body up to develop obesity.
And it also kind of speaks to that idea that you've brought up multiple times, of this idea of things all working together at the same time. If you're not getting a lot of sleep because you're working long hours, you don't have the time to make like a healthier meal. All these things start to really add up, and you can start to see those effects sort of snowball.
Yeah, and don't forget, obesity is linked to so many long-term chronic diseases, some of which I mentioned earlier, like heart disease and some cancers, but also diabetes, high blood pressure, mental disorders. Obesity is significantly linked to those long-term chronic diseases too.
Thank you so much for joining us, Susan. I look forward to talking to you next time.
Likewise, thanks for having me, and I'll see you next time.